For the life of me, I cannot remember. What made us think that we were wise and we'd never compromise? For the life of me, I cannot believe we'd ever die for these sins. We were merely freshmen. This is the Community Solutions Podcast. Jason Bradley, Andrew Richter, coming at you from deep in the bowels of our underground lair, where we take no prisoners and we take no guff. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Enduring this second walls shutdown.
Yeah.
Enduring might be,
Yeah.
the word to use. I mean,
Yeah. Well.
not real happy right now. And I don't know if you heard the news today or not.
Oh no. What now?
Well, you know how everything is supposed to pause.
Yeah, that's
not PAWS.
No.
The pause is supposed to end on Friday.
It's not. They already scheduled the special session.
Well, the special session is to pass all the welfare stuff.
Well, they've got to approve his.
No, they don't. They don't have to approve it.
Oh, sorry. They have to
vote to rescind.
Vote to rescind, but I mean they have to have the vote. Is what I mean.
Every 30 days they have to be called in, no matter what.
Yeah, might as well get some more spending out of the way when you go in, right?
That's right. We might as well get some more per dizzle.
Yes,
more per diem. To have somebody from Warroad come down here and vote for this.
Yeah.
But I was actually semi-optimistic like a week or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I've grown, let me just put it to you this way. It amazes me how Tim Walz is in the top 5 of tone-deaf politicians that I've ever looked at. I'm going on 19 years in this business.
Yeah.
Okay, and he is in the top 5, okay?
Yeah, it probably goes Cuomo.
Whitmer,
the mayor of Seattle, the mayor of Portland.
They're all up there.
J.B. Pritzker.
Yeah, I mean, I've added to the list in the last, 8 or 9 months.
There's about 30 of them in the top 5.
Pretty much. I mean, that top 5 is got a lot of greatest hits. But, I'm going to make a prediction, and I hate doing that because I suck at it. And I'm going to say, no, here's the first thing I'm going to predict. A, he already knows what he's going to do. Mm-hmm. And this is part of the tone deafness.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's sort of like, okay, we all knew you were going to shut down bars and restaurants more than 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
No one believed, even the people who support him don't believe him when he talks about how, it's, it might end on the,
No.
Because when you're tone deaf, the biggest thing that's hurt is your credibility. By the way, The Freshman is the song.
Yes.
I got no idea who sings it.
Verve Pipe.
Well, that was going to be my second guess.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I did know the song.
Yes.
Fifth little point. Okay.
No, that's good.
When you're tone deaf, your credibility gets shot. And that's what gets shot. And people can't wrap their heads around, how 600 people can cram into a Costco. How casinos can be open. My wife and I went to Little Six, and he can shut those down. He can do that.
He can, huh?
Yes, there is a provision, I believe, that gives him the authority to do it. They must be contributing too much to him. But the whole shutting down health clubs, youth sports, I've said before that the school situation really hurt DFLers. I mean, if you look at the races that flipped, like in the suburbs that had flipped before.
Yeah.
Okay, the shutdown, the schools, and I think the defund the police thing, which, again, the DFL leadership has to take the criticism for because they didn't, they say they're not for defunding police, yet they're out there with defund the police bumper stickers. But your credibility gets shot all the time when you're not straight with people. And this governor has not been straight yet.
No.
How about showing us the criteria in which you make a decision on? Okay, so for example, to reopen, dictator, to reopen this economy, what has to happen? Now, you notice that this governor has never once laid out any criteria on whether or not he's good at making it. See, and what I think, the reason I think he's delaying till Monday is that he needs to make the case to continue this. And he needs, if he doesn't have the facts, he needs to find them. If they don't support what he's going to say, then he's got his conclusion and he needs to figure out how to get there.
Yes.
Because if he were just had something to say, he'd come out and say it. So going through this charade that we're going to go 3 more days, it's like, it's worse than the worst reality show you can think of. Okay?
Well,
whatever the
really
worst
bad
one is, that's what this is. It's almost like, you know, we're distributing a vaccine at the same time where, you know, I mean, it's just kind of strange. But that's my prediction is that the youth sports goes on and nothing else. That's my prediction.
You think he's going to allow youth sports to start?
Yes, but it doesn't make sense because of the school situation.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if he is. I know it sounds like it's a big
I know that's the one that is probably 80-20 against him, maybe more than that.
Yeah. Do you think it's a large enough population to really worry him?
Yeah, I do, because I think if you see his personal credibility on this issue, on this whole COVID issue, it's done nothing but plummet. And it's not just people who oppose him politically.
Right.
I can agree with a person's decision and not agree with them philosophically. But I think, again, the whole charade, and that's one of the reasons I'm against an economic bailout, because all that does is make the shutdown go longer. And the idea that this aid they're talking about, I mean, they're talking about 14,000 businesses affected by this.
Yeah, mine's not one of them.
Yeah, I mean, right. But I mean, you can't come up with a package big enough. I mean, they're talking about 10,000. That sounds like a lot of money, but at a bar, that's not the rent probably.
No.
And so, to me, an aid package or asking for a federal bailout, which strangely we borrow the money from China, makes this situation worse. If you go back to the spring, when he started opening things, you can track losing federal funds with him starting to open. You know, you follow the money is all you've got to do. If you want to know what's open and closed right now, follow the money. The big, huge corporations are open.
Yeah.
The small businesses aren't. Follow the money. So, you know, he knows that the small businesses can't fight him.
Right.
And the big corporation, Target, can make some campaign contributions, and they can, the Indian reservations can do the same thing. So don't tell me this is about science. That's the biggest crock of crap on the face of the earth. I mean, to go to Little Six, Jay, and I know I did more gambling in 3 seconds than you've done in your life, but I mean, to go there, and see the bars open, to see people in their 70s, 80s, 90s, they're all out playing.
Yeah.
You know, a guy with a walker nearly ran me over. His oxygen, he almost threw his oxygen tank at me. Okay? So, I mean, how is that? I'd like to know, how is that not a hot spot? How is, if we're going to follow the science here. Now, I'll be honest with you, people were wearing masks.
Yeah.
There were some shield things up, like you see at the gas station. They were doing everything that they could.
Yeah.
But why is it we're not hearing anything linked to, you know, Sitting Bull's casino? I mean, why? Is it being covered up? You can't tell me nobody's gone to a casino with 400 people there and nobody has gotten COVID if I can get it from, you know, using an exercise bike.
Right.
So there's just, I mean, no. Just the frustration level is just, you know, we reached a boiling point in the spring.
Yeah.
And we're going to reach one quick. But I'm going to tell you this much.
Yeah.
we're not going to have a Christmas, and he's no way he's going to allow New Year's Eve.
No.
So you can look for this, again, to be extended in a little. In fact, I even think it'll be less than 2 weeks. I think he's going to do this very short amounts of time, like getting paper cut. He might do 2 weeks this time because of New Year's Eve, but I just think that
I don't think so. I don't think he's going to allow people to get together for St. Patrick's Day. I don't think he's going to be letting people get together for Easter. You know?
Thought we were all going to be vaccinated by April. That was just the speech on Tuesday.
Well, we'll see. And until we are all vaccinated or
Nobles
whatever.
County has 70% of their population has had, it is estimated, has had this. They've already got herd immunity.
Yes.
Okay? You know? Seriously. So, I mean, there's some estimates that over 2 million Minnesotans have already had almost half.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, we're not there yet with herd immunity, but, I mean, I don't know what will happen faster. The
vaccine or
yeah. I mean, if this takes 3, 4, 5 months, which it's gonna, you can't vaccinate 300 million people in a week.
No, and that's the other thing. This will take time to get it out to the people. I mean,
to make
and you've heard with some of these states, like they're thinking, well, we're going to do nursing homes and then we're going to do prisons. Well,
yeah,
that's smart.
It's good priority.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't heard much after the what we call in Minnesota the group 1A and 1B.
Yeah.
I haven't heard much after that. Probably people over 65 is probably next. I know. I still have the antibodies. I'm last.
Yeah.
That's okay. I can be last and certainly least. Now, what else?
I think I come in at about 352 million.
No,
I think that's the card I pulled.
You're after that. That. Yeah. You're definitely.
It's probably true. It's probably true.
Guy on his work visa is in front of you in line.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
I object to getting it for free as well. It's not free. Somebody's paying.
Somebody.
For it.
We're paying for it.
I mean, I'm not saying everybody should be charged $1,000, but let's get over this idea. This is free. Okay?
Right.
Come on.
Right, and we'll also see how badly. You know, I'm still holding to things turning out differently. We got to watch what we say now because YouTube has said that anyone who claims all sorts of election shenanigans and doesn't properly crown Joe Biden as the president-elect, that they're going to get their stuff shut down. So,
the Electoral College meets on Monday. You know,
right?
Well, I think it's over that day, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, technically they have until Inauguration Day, I guess, and we'll see what happens with the Texas case in the Supreme Court.
By the way, remember that case the election we talked about in Iowa that the Republican won by 6 votes, but nobody's calling it?
Right.
Well, Iowa certified the election. Remember, the certification was a big deal in the presidential race, but in this race, do you know what the Iowa Democrat who lost is trying to do?
I had seen something somewhere.
They're trying to get the new House of Representatives to seat her instead. To bypass, there's some provision. This has happened like once in American history, but there was a special like a cheating scandal or something. I didn't look it up enough, but they're trying to get they bypass because they bypassed the Iowa Supreme Court, and they want the House of Representatives to override the state certification of that election.
That's just dumb.
Yeah. So that's the big. New York 22, they might seat that before the next election, maybe.
Maybe. Well, you had mentioned also like defund the police. Did you see what happened in Minneapolis this week? That they vote to cut $8 million.
Did they actually vote yet?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They voted to cut $8 million from the police budget.
Well, what's the police budget?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
it's $8 million a ton.
Well, yeah, $8 million is a lot of money.
They only get $60 million in local government aid.
Yeah.
Well, what about Amber Fry? Is he going to come over and?
Sounds like he's going to do it. I mean,
well, you can't rely on him to be.
Yeah. He had previously threatened to veto the budget and was calling the cuts irresponsible. But
suddenly, a few days later, they're responsible.
Yeah, absolutely. So he praised the council for removing language that would have permanently shrunk the size of the force by about 130 officers in what he described as a defining moment for our city. But still, the council members, they have this plan. It's called the Safety for All plan. So safety for all means getting rid of $8 million of their budget, apparently. So you have a council that 1 week...
Of the police budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You have them 1 week, they're saying that, crime has gotten so bad that I think we're in trouble. We need more police officers. And then the next week, they're like, hey, let's cut $8 million. These are the most unqualified group of running a city that I
remember some of them
since Bill de Blasio.
Yeah, remember some of them have had their own security ramped up.
Yeah,
some of them personally.
Yes, and they're looking out for themselves.
Again, that's the elites, though. The elites can protect themselves.
Yeah.
The general public can't. Remember, we're taking away people's Second Amendment rights. The president's elect, has already talked about his buyback rifle
mandatory
program.
buybacks.
Mandatory buybacks.
Yeah.
Which I don't think he can do. I mean, I don't
think so either.
I don't think that you can take a lawful sale. And
I was sad about the accident that I had where I dropped them into a lake out of a deer stand. I thought
you dropped Biden into a lake.
No. All of my semi-autos, I had them with me, and just unfortunately.
I would really like to see the federal government go to certain people's homes and try to do that.
Good luck to you. But I had some thoughts about this. I mean, $8 million, it seems like a lot of money. But what can you get for $8,000? I mean, what could the city
$8 million.
What could the city of Minneapolis do for $8 million?
Well, they spend that. It probably falls out of their pocket while they're...
Well, we'll start in your wheelhouse. Adam Eaton and the White Sox finalize an $8 million 1-year deal.
He's a pitcher.
So they could fund somebody on the Twins for a 1-year deal. They have a habit of...
They could have offered Adam Eaton for, cash considerations and a player to be named later.
Yes. They say, you remember back...
That all $8 million buys nowadays, Adam Eaton?
For 1 year. That's it. You remember back in the 2019 World Series with the Nationals?
And Houston?
Yes. Yeah. You remember the beer guy moment?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That was worth an estimated $8 million in ads.
Really?
Yes. So you can get a whole ad campaign worth $8 million with the same kind of traction.
Well, they could promote their green ways and their sustainable flowers and their biodegradable butt wipe.
Yeah.
They could do a lot with that.
Yeah. You know what else? If they'd only hung on a few more years. It took $8 million to do the demolition of the Pontiac Silverdome.
Wow.
They could have took the Humpty Dump out with this extra money.
Yeah.
And
by the way, are the cuts like going back to the taxpayers, or is it being spent on some else?
They'll put it towards social workers or cry booths. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with it. They'll find a way to spend it. I mean, this is Minneapolis we're talking about.
No, that's true.
Those are some good sports ones.
Universal basic income, that might be. They're getting me around to that. I think I might support that.
The world's most expensive pen costs $8 million. They could buy one of those.
Depends.
Yeah, it is crusted with all sorts of gems and stuff like that. Black diamonds, 945 black diamonds and 123 rubies. So they could sign their...
Suppose I couldn't chew on that one, huh?
No, probably not. It'd hurt your teeth. But, why not sign the most crappy city ordinances in style, up the value of those babies a little bit.
Put my name on it, and you can double the price.
Yeah. Let's look at just a couple more things. What could Minneapolis do with $8 million? They could film one episode of Stranger Things for Netflix.
One episode?
They could film an episode with $8 million.
That costs $8 million to do one episode.
That's what it says here. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
How
imagine
paying
that.
Winona Ryder. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's her best payday since Beetlejuice.
So I don't know. Is it worth it? I don't know. Last thing, we'll do one more here because this is kind of fun. It's like
It's better than John Elder at the buffet.
that might cost more than $8 million. There's not enough prime rib in
He
Wyoming.
needs a 2-year deal.
There's not enough prime rib in Wyoming to feed that on. All right. To power that gasp.
Ugh, you're
All right.
awful.
All right.
Yeah, I never say stuff.
Last thing. So there is a steakhouse that was supposed to open December 18th in South Park. Where's South Park?
Oh, it's on channel 44.
Anyways, Steak 48 it's called, and they did an $8 million build out. So Minneapolis could help one of their businesses with an $8 million build out, except they would run into a problem because you can't put in a drive-through.
Yeah, how's that going right now? You're not having
Exactly.
a drive-thru.
Everything is takeout. Nobody can sit down. Oh, you guys don't have drive-throughs. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. But
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, you wonder how bad it can get in Minneapolis. I hate to say it, it can get worser and worser every single day. I just hope I never need to call 911.
yeah.
I mean, what do you think you'll get from, the nannies or whatever who are going to be answering that? By the way.
Oh. Also,
You know what
you
I
could
would-
buy a Maybach Accelero for $8 million.
What the hell is that?
It looks like that. It's kind
it's
of
a
a
car?
luxury car, yeah.
8 million, was it run on, is it on plutonium or regular gasoline?
I'm sure it runs on regular gas.
By the way,
unless
Jay.
it's electric, yeah.
By the way, remember when I said I wanted to play Biff in Back to the Future?
Yes.
And I said that I thought you'd be perfect for McFly. You could play McFly. Always remember, you scoffed at that.
Yeah.
But always remember what happens at the end of that movie.
I could maybe play Marty McFly.
You get to slug me.
That's
at the
true.
end. Yeah, but you got to kiss your mom.
Well,
Okay, but I mean, here's the thing. Always remember, you get to slug me at the end of that movie.
yeah.
So don't scoff at it too much. I know I get to bully you for an hour and a half, but then finally the last laugh. And let me
Yeah.
tell you something: if I played Biff and you slugged me, you'd get a standing ovation. That's how good at that part I would be.
How do you know I don't get those anyways?
Oh, but I mean, it'd be an extra long one, you know. So just remember that.
All right.
'Cause I listened to that episode recently.
Yes.
And I'm kind of like, and you scoffed it. I thought you could play McFly. And then, but always remember, you get to punch me at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
And I'll take it. I'll sell like you wouldn't believe. I'll sell better than Kurt Hennig when you smack me at the end. All right?
Wow.
So just remember that.
It's a big promise.
Well, I mean, you get to play the dork. I get to play the cool guy. So
Oh, boy.
that's and guess what else I have to do in that movie?
What?
Run into that manure. Remember that part
Yeah,
where he
over
runs
and
into
over.
the manure?
Yeah.
So I got to run into manure too. It's worth it. It's
Yeah.
worth it. No doubt about it. It's worth it.
Oh, boy. Well, we live in interesting times, don't we, Andrew?
Am I supposed to say yes to that?
But how do we get that way? And that's what this week's
Right.
podcast is really about. It's
Well, let me back up 1 second.
Yeah.
We've talked episode after episode about planning and blah, blah. Why are I'll call it the other side. I mean, I don't like to necessarily put it that way, but why is the other side so far ahead of us? Why is that? Why is it that, we find out about things 30 years that have been in the planning for, a long, long time. Who thinks this is a good idea over at City Hall or wherever? Well, when you see what it takes, my friends, to get a degree in, what do we want to call it? Government planning? master of, what do they call it?
Master of puppets. Maybe that's what I should have done this week. Yes.
What are we calling this? This is the master of city planning. I mean, basically, that's kind of what we're going to go over here.
Yeah.
You can see, I mean, Jay, how would you like to be an 18-year-old kid? You're a young head of mush. Yeah, or you got your Walkman with your worn out Roxette tape. I mean, and you go off to college, you're paying all this money, and you get a degree in Master of City Planning. And we're going to go over some of these courses that you take to what kind of return on that investment do you think that would be in here? How happy would you be at the end of that?
I'm not very happy now.
Yeah. Well, Lord knows that, but I mean,
oh yes. Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you expect a city planner to come in.
Let me back up.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be, and look, there's legitimate expenses that a city has. There's legitimate things that they do.
Yes.
But what would you think that entails versus what it actually does?
Well, I'm kind of speaking from a place of knowledge, but I guess like a city planner, you think, all right, it's kind of like SimCity. You figure out what you want to put where, and, you're going to put stores here, you're going to put houses here and apartments there, and why, and, your city looks the way it does because somebody planned it.
Well, Jay, that almost sounds reasonable.
Right. Well, we both know better.
Yeah, but looking at these courses, I don't think that is the way to go. Now we're gonna explain some of these, and we're gonna start here with a prestigious university. At least that's what we're told by the people who are there.
Right.
A jewel out in the West, the University of California at Berkeley. Okay, because this is the yuppity yups,
right,
who go there. They pay all this money for this wonderful degree here in the Master of City Planning.
I just want to say it's not just city, though. It's city and regional planning. They lump them together, and they're just like there's city planners in every city. There are regional planners in every part of the country, just about, that you have regional government that brings cities from a certain region together, like we have the Met Council here in the cities, and like we have the 10 parts of Mado that are around Minnesota, leaving a very small sliver of Minnesota that's not under that type of regional development organization, but you have like some other kind of makeshift organizations that make some of the rules in those areas too.
Yeah, and my sources tell me that sliver is about to get plucked.
Yeah.
Remember, I bet Mado gets redistricted along with the rest of the state in next year. First off, go to Berkeley. Jay, I have to do this.
Yeah.
I love going through the faculty. Now, just stick with me on this.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
this is going to be great.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But, I mean, to see what their titles are, first and foremost.
Yes.
Okay, so if you go to the page and you can go to, where are we at? Berkeley.edu?
ced.berkeley.edu.
And go to faculty.
Yes.
And we got beauties, Jay. We just got beauties. Okay, so listen to some of the titles. Okay, first off, I'll try to pronounce this. Oh boy, Nazir Al-Sayad is a professor of Emeritus of Agriculture, Planning, Urban Design, and Urban History.
Close. Yeah, Professor Emeritus of Architecture.
What did I say? Of agriculture?
Yeah, it's architecture. Professor Emeritus of Architecture.
The print's a little slow.
That's
the print's a little...
It's small. I'll give you that.
Okay.
You can, do one of those deals and make it bigger.
I just did now.
Yes,
Okay.
Nizar Al-Sayed.
Okay, the person right next to him, oh boy, Sai Balkarashima.
Her whole name didn't fit on the thing. That's only part of her name.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't. Balkarashina
Yeah.
is not where it
Sai
stops.
Balakrishnanan. Balakrishnan, yes. Sai Balakrishnan.
And she's the regional planning person,
Okay.
right?
What does it say here? Assistant Professor of City and Regional Planning. Yes.
Now, what did I say? That emeritus? What was that?
Emeritus?
Emeritus. What's that?
I don't really know.
thought that's,
That's
wasn't
one
that
of those hoity-toity
I thought that
educational
was
terms.
It's a place that rented cars. Emeritus.
I think
All right.
that's Enterprise. Okay,
I love-
emeritus is a college professor having retired but allowed to retain their title as an honor.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't look old enough to be retired.
Sure, he does. This is government, Jay. He must be like,
Wow.
what, 43?
That's
okay, now, next. How would you like to be a lecturer? What does that mean? A lecturer means you can't interrupt them? In city and regional planning, we have Justin Bam Bam Bigelow.
What do you do for a living? I talk. That's really it.
But I mean, I
yes.
look through all these things and I'm like, is this real? Do we really have
Justin
professors of city and regional planning?
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of, Institute of Urban and Regional Development, professor of city and region. I mean, look at all these people.
Yes. There's a lot of them. It's a big department.
My goodness.
Holy cow.
You got all these lectures. Ricardo Huerta El Nino, lecturer in city and regional planning. One guy's got a hat on.
Yeah.
I mean, there are probably 50 people here, maybe more.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy,
Boy,
Michael Deere. Check out that photo.
Dear.
He
Oh
looks,
boy, he looks like John List, the guy who murdered his family. That's what looks John List. That's what he looks like.
Oh boy.
You ever saw that American Justice?
No.
Okay. Well, anyway,
Yes.
I mean, so first off, this is not a small department with all these beauties here. This is not small.
No, it is a very large department.
And they have their course catalog out for 2021. I wonder if are they in-person learning out in California? I don't think they're in-person doing anything. I think you needed DoorDash to pass the cranberry at Thanksgiving. I mean, it was that was the kind that
51. I count them. 51 faculty. That's
Wow.
crazy.
50. I mean, how many students
51.
do you think are at Berkeley?
A lot.
Yeah, are they?
Yeah.
How many people are picking this
still.
major? I mean, think about how many students have to pick. Okay, I mean, just
That's
stop
like
and
one
think.
per state.
Yeah.
They're sending one to every state.
Yeah, put near.
And then
Right,
they can send one to D.C. as well.
yeah. Okay, they should probably hire another one to send to Puerto Rico.
Well, there you go. You
But-
better get ready.
But I mean, think
Yes.
about this for a minute. I mean, if you've got 51 people teaching, okay, how many students do you think are getting taught what we're about to go over? Got to be in the hundreds, if not thousands.
Yeah. It's got to be a lot. I mean, this
Year
is,
after year after
Berkeley's
year.
a big college.
Yeah, it
you know,
is.
it's not like I think about like when I went to school. We probably had we might have had 10 to 12 faculty in the music department.
Yeah.
There might have been a few more, but you think about it. Okay, you got to have somebody that can teach guitar, somebody that can teach brass, somebody that can teach piano, somebody that can teach voice, somebody, and so you have multiple people from like
Specializing.
adjunct faculty. I think about like the education department at Scholastica. There weren't that many people. There were probably 3 or 4 if I don't know. But
Were they
There may have
known?
been more than
Were they
that,
known
but-
for like a certain major?
nursing.
Oh,
and physical therapy. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's one of those where it's like, if I had a guidance counselor worth of salt back in high school, he might have sent me to a place that didn't, like, their thing wasn't like medieval music from the 1400s. Maybe he could have pointed me somewhere that...
Is that what you learned there? It was medieval music? From
medieval, classical, romantic, yeah.
Mozart's Identical Twins greatest hits or something? I mean, what? Okay. Yes. So, I mean, but yeah,
But yeah, to have 51 and then to think that they're probably large classes,
Yeah, especially the low classes and the undergraduate ones in particular, like the ones everybody has to take.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's multiple classes. There's 30 in this one or 50 or whatever, and 30 in the next one, and then 3 a day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever. Okay, I just want to start with the very first class. Okay, everybody has to take this. Global cities. Now, Jay, the title alone
makes me want to vomit.
I don't even have to read it. You know what's in it.
Exactly.
I mean,
global cities.
Believe me, I was on my computer today at the office working. Okay, I was looking at this, and I'm going down, and it stops at global cities, and I'm like, oh, what's next? Really? And you got to love how they have a description, then they have an extended course description.
Yes.
They don't tell you enough in the description. This has got to be California because they got to give you 2 descriptions. One is fuller than the other.
Yes.
Okay, but okay. The urban impacts of a continually globalizing world present new and unexpected challenges to those of us in the built environment professions. While some places like Dubai and Shanghai. Why would anybody go to a class in California to study Shanghai?
Exactly.
I mean, think about it.
Well,
if you're going to go, wait a minute. If you're going to go on to work in New Hope, why do you care what's going on in Shanghai?
Well, after the Great Reset, we're going to be like China Junior. So,
are we? Okay. Yeah. Well, but I mean, what a dumb example of And by the way, I'm gonna even go back further. This study of cities is more important than ever. For the first time in history, more people live in urban areas than rural areas. What?
For the first time ever?
Urban? Now remember what urban means.
Yes.
Not suburban.
Right.
Remember, those aren't...
Although the suburbs are becoming urban.
To these planners, it's probably all the same.
Right.
They probably look at Minnesota and say, okay, anybody in the 7-county metro, anybody in Duluth, anybody in St. Cloud, Rochester, Mankato, Moorhead, Bemidji, you're all urbanized.
Yes.
And the rest of you country folk with 4 teeth who married your cousin, you're all the bumpkins now. So that's probably what they mean when they say that. So, I mean, that's your global cities. So you want to be a city clerk, you can go learn about Shanghai and Dubai. That's your first class.
Right.
Everybody who else that's this beautiful degree, this beauty, has got to take that. What is the next class? I can't even say this word. What is NVIDIA?
What?
Don't you see it right there? 100?
100?
Doesn't matter. The city, theories and methods in urban studies. This course is concerned with the study of cities, really, no doubt. Focusing on our great cities around the world, from Chicago to Los Angeles. Well, you clearly haven't been there lately. From Rio, once again, Shanghai. Why is that? From Vienna to Cairo. It covers a historical and contemporary patterns of urbanization and urbanism. And you get all these great case studies and great theories. Would you love to be a professor and just talking abstracts all the time and never actually have to do anything that you teach?
Yeah, that would be great. And as can I buy a vowel?
Yeah,
Apparently not. There's no vowels in there.
I don't know what that means. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'm going to skip over the data stuff. Introduction to urban and regional transportation. Course description: efficient, safe, and sustainable transportation is essential to social, economic, and environmental well-being of citizens and regions. Where have I read that before? The 3 E's?
Yes.
Remember the 3? Where have we read that?
That was in
Agenda 21. That's where we read it.
Got moved over to Agenda 2030 and
Moved over to Agenda 20, whatever year you want to pick. Remember, that's all a conspiracy.
right.
It doesn't really exist. You know, that's you're just nuts like you are the only people who believe that.
That and I guess the UN, whose website it's on.
Remember, they removed it for a while.
They did, but
Agenda 21.
and with the Great Reset, they're also talking about Agenda 2030 and how all of this ties together. So
This course concentrates on the contemporary policy issues and problems such as traffic congestion, air pollution, energy consumption, social equity, and transportation finance. And once again, we got the social equity thing in here. Now remember, this is not a political debate. Okay,
No.
This is a course being taught that people are paying for.
yes, very liberal bent.
You think?
You know, and we wonder though. And I guess we'll cover this later.
We wonder. Sorry, I always.
Why cities, no matter, you have a city council out in Hutchinson or in Elbow Lake
Pick
or
your
wherever,
city. Pick anywhere.
and it's liberal is because of your city manager, your city planner, and they go through these college courses that they program them that way coming out, and so you wonder why.
Well, and also remember, those people also work at the county level, Met Council level, and so where does the grant money go?
Yes.
Where? How do you get the free money? They work at the American Planning Association.
Yeah.
They work in the Federal Transportation Department. They work in HUD. They work everywhere. So they're all
Right.
being taught the same thing. They're all implementing the same.
And just thinking about all the people going through these programs, Minnesota has 853 cities.
1,700 townships, 87 counties.
Well, the city managers don't go to the townships. Planners, maybe to a lesser degree.
But they'll be under a
or
regional
greater degree,
government
but
of some kind, county government of some kind.
Absolutely.
They're there.
So
They're just
87 counties in the state, and then you have 50 states. Plus DC that has that as well.
And I would add,
it's-
counties usually have an administrator.
Right.
And big counties
Yes,
have
they
many.
do. Yep.
So, yeah, they're all getting the same. Do I call it an education? I just don't think I could call it an education.
re-education through labor. Yeah.
Let's move on. I don't even know if I can read this class. CY Plan 180.
CY Plan 180. I got to scroll down. I'm way up at 160.
Research seminar on comparative urban studies. Managing cities for equity, equitable development, and equitable government. Now, this is kind of...
Well, this is cultural Marxism is what this class is. It's all based on critical theory.
Well,
How to achieve equity in development, in government,
Well, I mean, this
city management.
You're right. This is socialism. This is
Yes.
pushing socialism. This is your job as a city. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's not to provide police, fire, roads, parks.
Right.
You know, the things like I don't know, like are in your charter. Okay, no. This is how do we remake a city? How do we, redistribute wealth? How do we, how do we fix?
How do we make sure there are housing choices everywhere?
Yeah, or and again, you say the word equity. I mean that basically tells me that it's take from one group and give to another.
Yes.
So you're just creating a conundrum completely.
That, and I think also with these types of with this type of worldview, part of it is meant to stir the pot, to create a problem where there's not one already. We talk about cities here where they've been hiring equity coordinators. There hasn't been.
I
a
live
problem.
in one.
There hasn't been a problem. You tell me about racial problems in Plymouth, or that they've been here in Golden Valley, or not here, close to here, in Golden Valley, and some of these other cities that have hired these types of people. No, there really have not been racial issues.
Well, they're getting out in front of it now. They're making it a great place for everybody.
They're creating a problem where there never was one.
Yeah, they're assuming X number of people are guilty of something, and
yeah. But that's what they teach them in college. Well, it must be true, because in college I was taught that cities are not fair, and that
certain people are privileged.
Certain people are privileged, and that certain people don't have access to the right kind of housing, to the right kind of transportation, to the right kind of And
dialing 911 is racist. Cops are racist. I mean, they don't put it that way, but that. I'm sure that's where the direction this goes. Well, here's a beauty.
Yeah.
What is the Y plan? Doesn't matter. Race, place, and equity through the lens of California youth and schools. This is an upper division course, okay? So whether and how planning is responding to the needs of interests of young people who have historically been left out and too often invisible to our city power structures in planning, policy, and making practices. Today, there is an opportunity to reimagine. You see that phrase again.
Yeah.
Reimagine our city planning and engagement practices to be far more racially equitable, economically sound, and
resilient.
Oh, the R word.
Yes. The ICLEI mantra.
UC Berkeley students will have the privilege of working with Y-Plan teachers to serve as digital mentors in a 6 to 8 week planning project with young people in schools across California through digital mentoring. So what does that mean? We FaceTime between each other?
Max Headroom?
Yeah, like the Jetsons. We'll put it on the wall.
Hey, kids.
Yeah. Boy, I wonder what a book of that class costs.
Oh, unless I can knock myself out with it during class, it's not enough.
Now, here's something interesting.
Yes.
Ghosts and visions. Using physical installations and augmented reality to tell history and envision futures. Augmented reality.
Yeah, that's a tech term.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. But
is that like we fake? Like, is that like Chat Snap, where we put like a bunny ears on you or something?
Yeah, it's like that, where you're human and it's you, but you add things to it.
So it's like Michael Jackson becoming white. I'm just saying.
I think that actually happened. That became his reality, I think. Yes, technology that superimposes a computer-generated image on a user's view of the real world, thus providing a composite view. So it's putting the digital with the non-digital, and
so that's like having a before and after almost. Like there's not enough mixed housing over here, so let's put together the mixed housing on top of the street, on top of the Empire State Building, on top of the, it's reimagining, right, Jay?
Yeah, exactly. So like physical installations, things that are already there, and then using technology to overlay those communities into what you could turn them into. So you're looking at, today you have this neighborhood full of single-family housing, but wait, there's more. We can add in a bunch of low-level shops with apartments up above them for some beautiful mixed-use development, so that people don't have to drive so far.
But don't worry, there's a community garden down the road.
Yes.
So if you want a yard, we can all share the community garden. But since it's COVID,
Yes.
We have to socially distance, so only 2 people allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's a humanities studio course, they say. And you'll research local histories, use methods that may include installations in public space. And the histories, remember, are always racist. Augmented reality and audio storytelling to convey what you learn. The study site will be an old shoreline landfill called the Albany Bulb. And you will investigate both the site itself and use it as a vista point to consider histories, including Ohlone land use. I don't know what that is. 19th century dynamite manufacturing, World War II industry, and it'll tell you all this stuff's bad. Global container shipping and Bay Area unhoused communities. Unhoused communities, is that what they call homeless people now? Like tent cities now? And you will do archival research and consider questions of the best technologies or non-technologies used to reveal the past and to point to better futures. So yes, it is taking what they see as the injustices of the past and creating perfect communities that give equitable opportunities, equitable outcomes to people. Getting rid of homelessness, or making sure people have the access they need to mass transit, or
so putting mass transit on every street. I mean,
well, that's part of the beauty of it. You get to create it.
All right, I've had enough of that one.
You get to create it.
I'm going to move a little further here, just because we can't go through all this. The spatial politics of land. A transnational perspective.
Mm-hmm. Transnational.
Never seen that word
transnational.
Before. Transnational? National?
National. I think transnational. I'm still.
Well, I say it. You say tomato.
But yeah, it's very much not in America first.
Oh, my goodness.
It is, look what all these other places are doing.
Listen to this description
okay.
here. A central premise of this course is to link land use planning to property rights. How is land a fixed resource with unique characteristics in each location?
That's what they are.
Transformed into an asset for private ownership, an instrument of finance, a fungible, I don't know how to say that, asset. How are fluid ecologies like wetlands and coastal frontiers made into fixed property, and with what social and ecological consequences? So, the spatial politics of land. That looks rather like a dangerous class.
Yeah.
Because while land is viewed by our governing elite, they can have their land, but us peasants can't. Land is what? Not an asset that can. What was that quote from the UN back in the 70s? Land can't be treated. The preamble to the
basically what it says is that
land can't be in private hands.
It can't be in private hands, which again, during the Great Reset, that's part of that. By the year 2030, they assume that they're going to be able to get rid of private land ownership altogether. So, yes, they put a date to it now.
Oh, okay. Well, at least now that I know.
Yeah. See, that's what they're teaching in the schools, so they can prepare for it.
Look at the next one. I can't read that.
You can't read it?
Can't say the S word.
Yeah.
Not the one I said earlier. This one.
Sustainable communities. Yeah.
You got anything I could poison myself with?
How would you like to sit in these classes every day for 4 years?
No, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to sit with like a bucket of apples or something like that. I still got a good arm, Jay.
Yeah?
If I took like a Zoom class on this, I'd go through a laptop a day for sure.
Think you'd need to do a Zumba class on this just to get your
I'd be a
rage
Buddhist
out
after 2 weeks. This course has 3 sections: an introduction to the discourse on sustainable development, I'm sure in a fair manner, an exploration of several leading attempts to incorporate sustainability principles into planning, and urban design. Let me translate that. This is what we want. Here's how we get there. Here's how to sell it.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 principles. A comparative examination of several attempts to modify urban form and address multiple goals. Again, we got the 3 E's we're back to.
Yeah.
Of sustainable urbanism. I don't like too many things that end in an ism.
No.
There just aren't too many.
No.
It's like I'm with Ferris Bueller on that. Key topics. Listen to this. This is later in the same course description. Include planning innovations to achieve sustainability, the important tensions between the goals of social justice and sustainability, and the effective responses from grassroots social movements, new forms of governance, politics at various levels, from local to international, that reduce urban poverty and increase community sustainability. I need an interpreter.
Well,
okay, I read that as this. We're implementing this at any level, and whatever level we can't get to, we're going to go the next one up.
yeah.
International?
Well, I mean, look at it. This is an international movement. You have cities from all over the world that are in ICLEI with their resilient cities. I mean, that's everywhere around the world that they can get cities involved. They get cities involved. Because remember that Agenda 2030 is a worldwide movement. The Great Reset is a worldwide movement. And this is meant to bring world government. I know this sounds crazy. This sounds like it's, Looney Tunes 101, but it's true. I mean, you have all these ultra-rich people that they
need something to do.
They get together at Davos every year, and they talk about the direction that they think the world should go in. But America has stood in their way, and under Donald Trump has stood in their way far more than anybody ever has, and that's why they hate him so much. And that's why all the bad news coverage, that is why the Adam Schiff and Pelosi circus in the House, that is why all of the irregularities with the election, because they can't have him in office for another term. He is what stands in the way of all of this coming together.
Well, and where's the rest of the opposition to this in the United States? I find people are so ignorant of, and maybe shouldn't blame people per se, because our media doesn't cover this, our politicians don't care about it, ignore it. Mm-hmm. Half of them probably don't even exist. They're out at a fundraiser. I mean, how do you stop a problem nobody knows about?
You just got to keep sounding the alarm until people pay attention, I guess. That's the thing. I mean, if people don't know, you got to make them know. And a lot of times it's hard, and you get called a conspiracy theorist until you can show people proof. Like, hey,
even then you're still
here's
called it.
Here's the actual website. Here's the things that they're saying. On their own website. Once you can get people to get a vested
Great Reset. The
interest
Prime
in
Minister of Canada said Great Reset.
Yes.
How is it a conspiracy?
Over 50 nations are using the term "Build Back Better."
Yeah. 51 now.
Yeah.
Because of Biden, which
Right.
is what he basically...
He got on the train late. They've been using it for a long time.
I'm sure somebody will tell him now that was his...
Yeah, right.
That was his... I'm sure he didn't know it. Oh, boy. Topics in city and metropolitan planning. Race and the city. In this course, we will explore how inequality intersects with race, place, and wealth. This will be a practice-focused course. It will provide students with meaningful conversations and engagement with public, academic, and nonprofit sector leaders to create an equitable economy where everyone can participate, but he gets a trophy, contribute to, and benefit from. That's a long sentence.
Yeah.
So again, we will start with the premise that, and by the way, it starts talking about COVID. The COVID pandemic turned the world upside down. Millions of people out of work through no fault of their own. They're losing income and depleting savings to survive. It has hitting people of color and immigrants the heart. Is that true? Or is that a talking point?
I think there's maybe a little truth to it just because of the concentration of ethnicities in more dense areas. I don't think it has anything to do with any racist motivation. I don't think it has anything to do with, those groups are more susceptible to it. I just think that, unfortunately, because you're all crowded in together, that's how it worked. Think of any plague in history, how much worse the cities got hit than the countryside. Because, when you have rats carrying bubonic plague or whatever, you have an infestation in the city. Why? Because people are crammed in together. It doesn't take...
I don't think the virus goes, okay, where's the black guy?
Yeah. It doesn't take a degree in whatever to figure it out. It doesn't... I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure more people, more disease. More people touching things, more people get sick.
I don't just think how far along that class. You got to take a lot of classes to get to take this class.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Topics in city and metropolitan planning. Multi-species cities.
Yes, I saw that. Multi-species series. Multi-species.
All those amoebas and protozoas. No, that's not what we're talking about here. Beyond concern for endangered species, how can a species? By the way, how can a species live in what they want to do? You cram everything together. And live on top of each other. What species can survive that?
Right.
City planners pay little attention to animals or plants. But cities are multi-species places full of vibrant matter, diverse flora, and creatures that fly, crawl, burrow, slither, jump, run, sing, grunt, cluck, bark, squeak, and buzz.
Okay, students. For
Sounds
class
like
today, I want you all to sound like a chicken.
Yeah. They must have been to a Richter reunion.
Okay, now that's okay with the chicken sound. Now let's try sounding like donkeys, everybody.
Ee-haw, ee-haw. So, how should city planners think about the more than human city?
Wow.
The more than human city.
Yes, because we also have to be humane to the rats and to the raccoons.
Well, I don't want to be
to the.
I don't want to kill everything,
No.
but I mean, this is a class,
Yeah.
okay, to talk about what grunts, clucks, barks, squeaks, and buzzes.
Well, if you looked further down, though, it talks about biodiversity and urban design, and so it's have you ever seen like the land bridges where it's like you divert traffic so that wildlife can go underneath, or you make it so wildlife can travel over a highway without any.
Fine, I don't want to see a bunch of animals get killed.
I don't either, but if you would let us hunt, and not restrict hunting and fishing to the degrees that you do, that manages wildlife population so you don't have overpopulation, and you don't have 50 bazillion raccoons running around your city. You don't have half mutilated deer carcasses lying around in your freeway.
Yeah, and how many places have been torn up that those animals used to be?
Yeah.
And had high rises or apartment buildings or townhome communities built on them. I mean, there's consequences to that too. You're taking away their ecology.
Yes.
So I mean, these planners have. I mean, what are you going to do? We'll tear out this, and then, but we'll give a little walkway so the Huey, Dewey, and Louie don't get run over.
I'm sorry, but there are so many dang geese in the metro area that you can't barely throw a rock without taking 4 of them out. I have never. The geese population needs to be. Something has to happen where they allow us to go thin them out, because they're everywhere, and they don't often.
What's
I
their
guess
main
get hit,
source?
but they walk across the street. You got wings. What? You got wings. Stop walking across the street.
Their babies don't.
I see them without babies walking across the street.
Wow, I kind of like watching them walk.
You need to be on my.
What do they eat mostly? Fish or frogs? Or I mean, what?
Yeah, I guess they would probably eat, small fish and stuff like that.
So they're always by ponds.
Same kind of
and
things
stuff.
that like ducks would eat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, because they're
It's
always
very different than the question, what would I mostly eat? And it would be roast goose.
By the way,
Yes.
just a total off the wall question. What is the plural of goose?
Geese.
So what is the plural of moose?
Meese.
Exactly.
No.
I always called it meese. And I can understand why English would be hard for somebody to learn.
Yeah.
Goose, geese, moose, meese.
Yep.
Like when we had the
Grouse
Moose here,
grease.
the hockey team.
Yes.
The Meese had a nice period there. They forechecked well and bubble. I mean, should have been called the Meese
Yes.
or the Mooses. What's wrong with mooses? So, like, if I put more than one moose in my hair, do I say there's 2 Meese in my hair? The things I come up with, I'll tell you what. Now, Jay, this is something in Berkeley, okay? Now, I hate to say I'm not shocked at this in California.
Yeah. I mean, Berkeley's nuts. I mean, like certifiably nuts.
Yeah, but no, they're an accredited, wonderful university according to them.
Oh, that was another thing from the list. There was a college that spent $8 million looking for accreditation, so maybe Minneapolis could use that for an esteemed university like this.
I'll tell you what, you think about some of the world's greatest ripoffs, and I cannot understand how college does not rank up there.
Yeah.
I really can't.
Well, I think it does, even though people don't say it.
Yeah, but how many people think you either get that college education or you don't have a chance in this world? How many people think that, you get, and look, now, depending on what you want to do, of course, but I mean, to major in, and I got to say, this government work can pay well.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily begrudge people for
wanting to do it.
Yeah, or I mean,
But here's the thing: for city planning, for being a city manager, you have to go through these courses. Yeah. You have to have a master's degree. I mean, for the city manager, it says you can technically do it with a bachelor's degree, but they like to have master's degree and like commensurate experience. And so all our cities turn out this way with the same mindset because they get taught by the same people in the same courses with the same textbooks and the same worldview. But I know where you were going.
But I mean, I don't know. It seems like, don't any parents look at these courses and what am I paying for? You think my mom and dad cut a check till they saw what I was taking?
Yeah. I don't know.
If a catalog came home that I'm not a parent, and that catalog looked like that, I'd say, you know what? That's why we got a fire pit out back. I mean, there's no way they're going there.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, it's one. Look, put it to you this way: teaching, okay, is not trying to shape somebody's point of view. It's about giving someone the tools to be a successful adult. If you want to learn about cities, what do you want to bet there's no course in here on a city charter and a statutory city and why a city, like you and I have talked about how it became that way back in the progressive era and, limited government.
Right. How many of them teach that you serve the city council, not vice versa?
Yeah. I mean, what's happened is these appointed positions have become the most powerful. They're there.
You
city
drive
council,
policy.
City council can change.
Yeah.
Okay, but
you drive policy.
Yeah, exactly. And these city council people, with all due respect, some of them are great people, but the part-time people, they're led by the horn. Not all of them, and that's certainly not true. And there are ones that are good out there. Let's not get off into that. But, I mean, it's so disappointing. I don't know why I'm disappointed. But it bothers me so much to see this being taught like this.
Yes.
It enrages me. I can't.
It's what's resulting in the urbanization of our suburbs.
I got tax in my palm, so I can sit here.
Urbanization of small towns out, like the bedroom communities of larger cities.
But like I said, is our Constitution or amendments or rights or limited government been talked about? Have we mentioned that once?
No.
Limitations on a city council. What this is we don't care how you vote. Okay? We don't care whether you want this. We don't care whether or not we don't care where you live. This is the environment you're going to live in. It's already been chosen for you.
Yep. You had mentioned this is crazy Berkeley. So somewhere else, I thought about this. And during the show, I just randomly pulled up a university. I didn't go shopping through a bunch of them looking for anything. I just randomly, I Googled city planning university program. That's what I Googled. Pulled up. Now, this is a fairly more conservative state, North Carolina.
Okay.
So we're looking at the University of North Carolina. Core courses for their land use and environmental planning section. Land use and environmental policy. So again, it's, land use and environmental planning. And select two of the following courses: energy, transportation, and land use, watershed planning, development and environmental management, project and site planning, development impact assessment. Now, that doesn't seem super crazy, but let's go down and see what the recommended electives are.
Okay, but I'm going to stop you there.
Yeah.
Okay. Notice again what you're not saying.
Yeah.
Limits to government. Talking to the citizens who live there.
Yeah.
Seeing what they want. You're not even hearing things like zoning and density and commercial property and railroads. I mean, you're not even seeing stuff like that.
Yeah. Elective politics of urban analytics. Data collection methods, land use and environmental policy, community development and revitalization techniques, advanced economic analysis for public policy, so how to get that money, design of policy-oriented research, federal policies and institutions, nonprofit management.
Federal policies is important to learn. But,
yes.
You know, I got my ideas on how to teach that and how not.
Community. Oh, go ahead.
Here's the thing. Can I just say one thing? You and I could do such a much better job teaching than any of these people with a PhD or with alphabet soup after their name. We would do such a much better job.
Yes. Community design and green architecture. Global climate change, interdisciplinary perspectives. Applied environmental finance, how to pay for environmental services.
Now, again, this is for somebody who wants to work in the office of a city.
Urban form and design, yes. Public transportation. These are just under the, there we go. Community design and environmental justice.
Yeah.
Environmental justice law. And that's just under the environmental portion of it. There are also, what did it open a new thing?
Did it have a multi-species city class in there?
I haven't gotten that far through it. I've been trying to participate in our discussion here.
I let you do that once in a while.
It's all right. But yeah, there's the land use, there's transportation planning, there's housing and community development, there's economic development. So there's classes under all of these different subjects, all of which they have got to, take and be a part of. Affordable real estate investment in affordable housing, housing and public policy. So, urban neighborhood revitalization.
Oh, we heard that before.
Yeah, equitable economies. See, same kinds of things in there. They may not have the same course names, but
I'll be taught on Tobacco Road.
Yeah.
So if you want to go somewhere and get a master in whatever this degree is, what do we call it? Government planning, public policy.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder too how many people.
Urban planning.
Yeah, I mean, God, we got so many people who've gone through these things and have gotten one side of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's just so scary. How many people, actually go out and seek something else out?
Right.
I mean, no wonder that our cities are run the way they're run.
Yeah.
You're depressing me again, Jay.
I'm not trying to do anything.
Yeah, but you're here, so I'm blaming you.
Hey, why don't talk for just a minute about?
You know what we got to do? We got to come up with our own course guide.
Yeah,
that's what we ought to come up with. Yeah, I mean, because I keep thinking to myself, if we had our own courses and we could even play off of these. I mean, we could play off the ones that they had. Multi-species city. We could have a mono-species city or something like that. We could, something like that. I mean, when you look at these courses, I mean, race and we could talk about equal opportunity in a city and what the things can do to give that equal opportunity, not equal outcome, that is so pushed everywhere is equal outcome, but it's always about equal opportunity. If you want to see something through the lens of youth in schools, again, you got to give them the tools that they can to succeed, not tools to be angry or to feel like the world hates them or something like that. I mean, that's what I feel like we're pushing when we talk about we're telling minorities that everything is against them and that they can't. It's impossible for them to succeed, and that America needs to be torn down and remade, and that's absurd. So I think that's thinking about these, and I just the only hope that you have, I mean, is that people will get out of this box. They'll get out of out of these classrooms and into the real world. And I'm floored at to what education has become. I have to say this.
Yeah.
20 some odd years ago when I was in school, I mean, I can think of very few times when I look back on it that I was ever indoctrinated into some thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I really have to think to come up with examples. And I'm not sure it was on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I had a teacher, professor necessarily with an agenda. But I do feel like today it's almost the norm.
Yeah, I think when I was in college, I knew it was going on.
Yeah,
I think I avoided some of those classes. There was they did like this freshman seminar the year after I started, so I missed out on it. But that was full of indoctrination, kind of what the direction they expect you to go. I think, like in my philosophy class, I think there was some indoctrination. I know a lot of the religious classes at St. Scholastica, I guess I outed where I went to school, were very much full of indoctrination. It was
Really?
not pure Christianity. They were teaching you about worshiping Sophia, which was a goddess of wisdom, and weird stuff.
It's funny. I think I've mentioned this on the air. I took like a Western or Eastern, I don't know which one. I can't remember. And it was one of the best classes I ever took.
Yeah, I took one of those too, and it was fine.
I mean, I didn't know a lot about non-Christian religions. There was Christianity involved still,
Right.
But it was. I look back on that, and I thought the guy who taught it was excellent. At the end of the day, I didn't even know what religion he was. That's how good he was at teaching it.
Yeah.
It wasn't an agenda based. It was a history. It was a cultural class. I mean, I don't want to say the M word.
Yeah.
All right, multicultural. But nobody used that word back then.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't. So it was. I thought it was interesting. I mean, it's just maybe it's just me, but I don't know. I mean, this is. Man, I'll tell you what. I feel for the youth. I mean, not only will they never read a newspaper, or they'll professional wrestling will never be as good. They'll never. You know what I mean? It's like they'll never play the Atari. They'll never use a VCR. Not only that, but they got to go to school for this crap.
Yeah.
And by the way, I mean we're focusing on a planning thing because that's what you and I, focus on. But I would love to sit in a course and see what's taught in American history in college. See what's taught in economics in college.
Yeah, well, it's more of the same, It's geared toward, socialism rather than capitalism. Capitalism is bad, and, it teaches the dark side of capitalism, which is usually, infused with socialism, but they won't tell you that.
Yeah. Dark side of socialism won't be talked about, that's for sure.
Oh, no. Absolutely not. It's a great utopia.
Yeah, where everybody's equally miserable.
Right. But yeah, I mean, for planning, people have to go through these college courses. City manager, they have to go through college courses as well. Usually they've got to go, like I said, get a bachelor's degree, and then sometimes they need to go beyond that, get their master's, And that can be in public policy, nonprofit management, grant writing, budgeting, economic development, politics, state and local government, And as usual, it's the same, garbage in, garbage out, or whatever. Or garbage in, don't take the garbage out. So.
Well, you can go to that website at Berkeley. You're free to go to North Carolina too, and study there. They're wonderful, and I mean, I'm sure you can go to all points in between.
Yeah,
North Carolina.
How do you change the system when the system is teaching them to be one way?
The only recourse we have right now is to elect people who are, not going to let that happen. I mean, that's right now. That's the only thing we can do.
Right.
So, I mean, And how do you reverse all of these professors and all? I mean, it's...
Yeah. They all got tenure. They don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it kind of is.
I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, you do.
I don't think it's impossible, or we wouldn't be doing
quit.
this.
I quit.
Really? My word.
Speaking of quit, I'm going to quit for the night, though.
Yeah.
Because, Jay, once again, I present Community Solutions' great honor. Last and certainly least, styling and profiling, limousine riding, jet flying, the cream of the Krispy Kreme, the Roddy of Piper, the suffering of Succotash, king of Sting, the master of disaster, Jason Bradley III Jr., giving us the sign-off sermon.
My people. You know, we talk about this. We talk about all of the college courses, the preparation, the things that somebody has got to go through to get knowledge and an education, a degree in city planning, in city management, and how it's used all over the place. All these cities, these counties, these regional governments, the policies that come from our state, the policies that come from the federal government, all of these bureaucracies that support it, all of the media and the think tanks and it is overwhelming, and it looks like, how can we win that? You know, it's by putting things back in their proper order. Yeah, it's true. They've been working on a great reset for a long time. They want to take down the world economy. They want to take down the American economy, the American government, because we're standing in the way. But you know what? They can't forever. They cannot do this to us forever. Not if we're intent on doing something about it. You know, there's a story. If you guys are familiar, in the book of Genesis, how Joseph interpreted the Pharaoh's dreams and said there's 7 years of famine coming. We got to store stuff up. We have to make sure we got enough grain to get through this next 7 years. Because we're going to be in 7 years of abundance, and we got 7 years of drought. They go through 7 years of abundance. They store all of this stuff up. Then they go through 7 years of drought, and the government of Egypt is giving the people grain out of their storehouses for 7 years. Well, they get to the end of that 7 years. These people of Egypt are still dependent on the government. And this is the part of the story we never talk about. First, Joseph demanded from them their livestock in exchange for grain. Then he demanded from them their land. And until they had everything, the government held everything, and all of a sudden the people were slaves. And that's the literal words out of that account. The people were slaves to the government. They gave the government everything they had because they were dependent upon the government. Now, they may have needed them. There was some good foresight to get them through that 14 years, 7 of plenty, 7 of nothing. But their mistake was that they lost that spirit, that individual spirit to grow food, to grow livestock, to be able to take care of themselves. And that is where we are headed, and that is what they want. They want us dependent on a currency that they can just give to you whenever they want to because it's not tied to anything. It's just a digital currency. They want to be able to track you and trace you. They want you to take this vaccine for COVID. And there are places that don't want to let you participate in society if you don't take that vaccine. There are people that want to take and keep a running list of anyone that supported the president, of anyone that has given to the president, not just big corporations and big shot celebrities. No, anybody. They want to drum them out of society. The world is a-changing, folks, and if we don't stick to our guns, I said guns. If we don't stick to our guns, we are going to be in trouble. And we are going to be just like Egypt, where we are slaves to a government that is looking to make us enslaved to them. No, stakeholder capitalism, that's just another word for Chinese capitalism, which is no capitalism at all, but Marxism. That is the direction we are headed in. They want to pull up the third world countries and pull down the first world countries to do it. We have to meet them out on the battlefield, ready to do the work that has been entrusted to us to keep freedom alive. You know what? There's many ways to do that. Whether we serve in government or whether we serve in our church, we got to do one of them. We got to show our families too. We got to do it with them and to the degree that we can, and we got to show them how it's done so that future generations know that it's important to do. Might be nice to come home after work, kick your feet up and watch whatever on the television. But you know what? There's time for that. But there's also time to sacrifice, time to serve, time to put some skin in the game. It didn't take a whole heck of a lot of people to do that for us to win our revolution for our freedom. Didn't take a whole heck of a lot of people to do that to keep us as one nation when we were about to get divided in a civil war. We need y'all to step up. We are against billions of dollars. We are against people who know what they believe and are passionate about it. We are against people that are set in what they want to see happen. But yet we're not really warring with people at all. It's ideas, it's powers and principalities and things that we can't see and work that draw the powers of darkness together, that make us march toward evil. But let me tell you, light wins out every time. You light a match in a darkened room, what happens? The light wins out. You got a sparkler outside on a hot summer night, that sparkler wins out. Darkness cannot exist where light exists. It's one or the other. When you bring your light into the dark, that darkness has got to go. So here's what we do. We join together and we bring our light where the darkness is growing. That is how we win. So who's with me? We want to build something for you guys. To train, to educate, to be exactly the opposite of what all this is. So that we got people going into city councils that will stand up to the bureaucrats that put in place and say, sorry, you serve at our pleasure, and this is how we're going to do things. You tell me how we're going to get it done. That's what we need to do. That's where we need to go. So we need people to do that. Get a hold of us if that's something you're interested in. Or, like I say, we're trying to build a structure to help you get into those types of places where you're able to watch videos and be trained and have the tools that you need to run effective campaigns. Oh, yeah. We want it to be something amazing, but we need your help to do it. So let us know if it's something you think you can help with, if you're in. Because let me tell you, folks, it may be us against the world, but that doesn't mean we lose in the end. It's true. It's true. Just get a hold of us. COMMSolutionsMN@gmail.com. That's COMMSolutionsMN@gmail.com. Let's come together. Let's be unified. Let's make our last stand a stand that lasts. We can do that together. Appreciate it. If you rate this podcast, hit the notification bell if you're on YouTube, and subscribe, and let you know when we're doing something, when new stuff goes up. We're super proud of you, Minnesota. We've taken some steps forward. With your help, we will take a lot more steps forward in the very near future. So come on, come one, come all. It's time to get to work. It is time to do something great. And we need everybody to put their hand to the shovel. We love you, Minnesota, but now it's your turn to get to work.
If I get too caught